The format of our presentation is going to be that we'll introduce the topic, we'll talk you through a major strand in the project, and then our students will come forward, they'll share the experiences, their learning, and how it has impacted their experiences, given them skills, and overall help them having a deeper learning and understanding. Okay, so our topic is STEAM towards excellence. And I'm just going to share with you. So overall, it is how STEAM help to have projects which leads to skills development. I'm not sure if you know, but on the title, it was Hot STEAM towards skills development. And I'm going to take that as a compliment with our students. Okay, so moving on for our presentation. So we're just going to start with one quote by Leonardo da Vinci, who says, and that was ages before STEM or STEAM was even introduced in its format the way we have today. So he said, to develop a complete mind, study the science of arts, study the arts of science, learn how to see and realize that everything connects to everything else. And that kind of give you the overall summary or the picture of why we created this project, leading towards a really grand exhibition, and how it has helped our students not to learn what was in curriculum, but to get skills which they needed for real life.
Should I be holding that? All right. Okay. Morning, everybody. I am the head of English at Mizhar American Academy, and I come from the A background. You know all that it was STEM before it became STEAM. So the integration of arts and language and humanities. So I come from that background, and this started in my creative writing and speech workshop. Students were to create products and they were to sell them using entrepreneur skills and following a speech rubric. And it just steamboarded into an exhibition afterwards. So what we're going to talk about is how STEAM is an interdisciplinary topic, and it connects to the concept of global economy. And it's going to revitalize the economy of this country. Because when you look at the job market, you see that that's where the jobs are. We talk about engineering, science, we talk about innovation and creativity when we talk about arts. And that's where we need to sort of prepare our students to game up for the real life connections. So Student Design developed and delivered prototype STEAM products through simulated speech and technological workshops. So it was an amalgamation of all of these factors, and instead of accentuating on the E, we worked on the A. So now we're going to show you how that happened and how successful it was. Moving on to the next slide. Okay, so this is the whole satellite view or a paradigm of how it impacted purposeful learning in class. So you can see that the core of all of this, the crux, is STEAM itself. At the top of our priorities were our students. We come from a female population student body because we are an all-girls school. Then at this side, you have the parents and the wider community, because the students were given the opportunity to go home and explore their own areas of interest, which could be in engineering, which could be in science, but using speech, because that's how you're going to present or sell something in the market. So parents were involved because if somebody's father was an engineer, the support came in. If somebody's father was a scientist, the support came in. And then you go towards the teachers. It was interdisciplinary. So our students were like, it was like a revolving door. They were in and out of the class. They had to go to the arts room to create their banners. They had to go to the science lab to create the products that they had to create. They had to go to the robotics workshop in our school to get the thing sorted. So it's chaos in a way, but it's organized. And that's real life learning. Moving on to the outer triangle.
Okay, so that gives you a clear picture how the three main stakeholders of learning were connected. Again, starting from students, being at the top, being a priority. But that doesn't stop here. Any learning is no learning without its ultimate goal or impact on the society. So the whole idea of the project was actually to identify a gap or a need in the market and then create a product using any strand of STEAM or a combination of some, such as science and technology, or technology and arts, or engineering and maths, or maths or arts. So it was up to the students what they choose based on the gap or based on the need that they have identified. Once they know what they wanted to do, and just to add in, most of them went for their passions. So we had products which were linking to music, which were linking to arts, which were linking to engineering, because the girl wants to be an engineer in her career. So everything was student selected, which gave the fuel to the whole process. So based on the design, very obviously, it was cross-curricular, it was interdisciplinary, it was directly linked with the wider community because they had to identify a gap for that product, which was going to be later linked up with their speech skills, as in how they will raise the pitch for that product if they want sponsors or fundraisers. And then all of that was leading to independent learning and matching to their area of interest, which is extremely vital. You all are here today because you selected this particular topic, because you feel that you're going to go out and will implement somehow or learn something new, but you are here because you want to be. Now imagine a situation if you are taken, placed somewhere for 8 hours of the day, and you don't want to be there, you don't want to learn, you don't want to listen to that particular content, but you have to be there. The outcome will be pretty much zero. But the danger part is you may end up losing the skills you had when you walked in, because you didn't get the time to polish those skills. So that was the whole idea behind it. And that was getting linked up with women empowerment, as we are all-girls school, and also global economy and entrepreneurial skills and targets for Vision 2020, because everything was leading to how you will capture the market, create the perfect product, raise the perfect pitch, and then use that as an opportunity, not just for yourself, but to impact and make it effective with the wider community around you.
This was the kind of topic in which the lesson objective for this team was designed by the students themselves. Since it was purposeful learning and much freedom was given to the students to create the products of their choice, and keep it in mind that these products were not available in the market. They were not allowed to create a prototype model which is already there in the market. So they had to create actually blueprint original models. If they're thinking about 3D glasses, if they're thinking about a solar power engine cycle for the communities, like when you talk about healthy lifestyle, how we can help in minimizing pollution. So they had to create a concept, and based on that concept as to what are you going to give to the market or the financier that he or she is going to buy a product. They were creating their own objectives, they were using their own knowledge, external stakeholders were involved, and they created their own blueprint models. And that's why it's very important for me right now to say that the objective, I want one of the students who were part of my speech workshop to elucidate on that one. Hold it here.
Hi, I'm Eliazia, one of the students in the speech and creative writing workshop. And for all of us, I can say as a whole, we felt that the objective was more to implement STEAM in our 21st century modern day learning, while also create innovative products and blueprints, but still maintain the curriculum we learn in school. So it would be a mix of all three. And then with that, we would learn more than just going into a classroom every day, sit down, take notes, and then repeat.
Hi, my name is Mariam Gardezi, and I too was in the speech and creative writing workshop. And part of that, this whole year's journey is what led us to the STEAM exhibition that we had just a few weeks ago. And so to join the two areas together, STEM with a speech class, is an unimaginable thing to do, but it's possible, and that's exactly what we were doing. Our year started off with us really, we were in a creative writing workshop, which meant that we were writing, but we were also developing our creativity and innovation skills. And because we were able to do that for the first 2 semesters of the year, this led us right into our speech workshop. And obviously, the purpose of a speech workshop is to teach you to speak to people, communicate, persuade, compel, but that's not going to take us anywhere if we're not applying that within the concept of STEM. And so as part of our speech workshop, we created products within the class, and then our biggest goal with these products was to persuade people to believe in our product and really understand what it's all about, and maybe even finance it hypothetically.
Hi, my name is Sakina Kazmi, and I am one of the students who was part of the ICT class. And as one of those students in that class, it was a new experience for us because we've never done something like this before. And the journey was tough, and we put a lot of dedication and hard work towards creating something that would fit this STEAM definition. So our class decided to create applications that would fit each category in the STEAM, like how it says science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. So many of the apps that we created were unique, and they were mostly focused on arts, but it was really open to all topics. And we used our ICT skills to create something new that could benefit society. And I think the students in our grade did a really good job on that, because not only would it benefit society, but it could be used in like our everyday lives in the future.
Okay, so over here is images of our prep of the actual exhibition that took place a few weeks ago. Like earlier, we had lots of parents involved. We had a lot of school community involved, from staff to teachers, and I think also not just students participating in creating products and apps, but also outside students that were involved in the preparation of the actual event. And so here we're able to see how as a school community we were able to come up with an event that will be something that we will be applying our skills to quite a lot going into the future.
And let me add to that their stations were divided into different categories. So let's say if it's innovation, we'll be looking at that. If it's entrepreneurship, we'll be looking at that. So there was a primary focus of what they were presenting. It was science-based, it was completely lab-based, and it would go into science. So there were categories, and that made the whole process more transparent. And it functioned well because the students weren't confused, because like you're the wider audience. If I say STEAM, let's do it in the class. Let's, see how functional literacy looks like. It's going to confuse a novice person or a person who is a beginner and doesn't know what STEAM is about. So obviously you need to sort of trickle it down into different steps, categorize it, so it's easier for the students to understand what the objective is and what are they applying and what the outcome is.
Something worth mentioning here of how it's all linked with real life skill and how it was a big challenge was this exhibition and their presentations were judged by external judges. Without naming anyone, we had head of innovation from Emirates Bank, so people actually dealing in innovation for the country. We had IBM staff who are actually developing their own portal. So when they were asking them questions, it's not just generic questions about, so what have you done? Well done. It was really challenging questions about real world. How do you know it's a gap? What do you know about your competitors? What are the skills you need after this particular application to make sure you stay on top of your game? So it was real life questions mapped onto the needs of real life world. And that was a big challenge because it's not only preparing and presenting, but presenting to somebody from the real world. And that's only in grade 10, 11, and 12. So they're really young girls who went ahead and presented to these judges from different fields of life.
The next slide. Okay, Maria. Before she starts now, we would like to show you a demonstration of a student who's going to sell a product to you. We'll take your feedback in the end as to whether you buy it or not. There are no pressures. She's going to do that for you so you get an idea of how it happened in a small classroom setting, and then it went to the wider audience. Okay, Maria?
Okay, so even though I was part...
You're selling it.
Yes, I'm selling it, and these are my vision boards, but I couldn't really put them anyplace higher, so I hope they're visible, but if...
Wrap it up. Let's stand there so you can see without covering it. Just keep it up so we can...
Thank you, Sakina and Hamda. Okay, so starting off with creating a product, you have to think about where do you want to take this product to be in the end? What do you want it to benefit? So my partner, who's not here today, who I worked with for this project, we are both older siblings. We have she has two younger siblings, I have one younger sibling, and the first thing that came to us was how we want to help protect them and all other children around us. And a big problem nowadays we see is stranger danger. With a growing world, kids on their phones all the time, we need a way to protect our children. The problem with that, though, is when doing our research, we found that there's not really much in the market helping the situation or tackling the issue. We found a lot of products like badges and pencils and things that say, oh, don't talk to strangers. But I think that growing up, every child, their parents tell them, don't talk to strangers. And kids seem to remember that. If you ask them, in theory, what are you supposed to do if a stranger walks up to you? They'll tell you, I'm not supposed to talk to them, I might walk away. But in many scenarios, you might find a child intimidated by somebody who walks up to them or unable to help himself. And our product was to tackle that exact problem. What if a child knows what to do but can't do it in the moment out of fear or whatever reason? So then our solution was a bracelet. Everybody would think of a bracelet to do some kind of amazing thing, but a bracelet. But what does this bracelet do? So thinking about the many features, our bracelet has a sensory recognition and a voice recognition, and both of these features came from a car's technology. You know, when you're driving a car, right, and you drive too close to something, it goes beep, 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 it tells you to stop. Similarly, many cars, like my mom's car, only she is allowed to call a number by her voice being recognized by the car. And that exactly was the technology. What this bracelet is, the child can wear it, it has a button on it, an emergency button. And what if a stranger is walking up to you, the bracelet senses if personal space is not kept between a child and somebody walking up to him. Also, the bracelet can sense voices and tell whether this voice is familiar, of a mom, dad, friend, or never heard this voice before. And many times in cases of difficulty, a child may forget that I'm wearing a bracelet, I can help myself. And so in reaction to that, the bracelet senses the child is in danger, the bracelet will light up or vibrate, reminding the child to use the bracelet for help. And then with that, it has a GPS and camera for the parent to use an app to connect to the bracelet to see if the child is actually in danger. And so that was our concept. Problems we found with the concept was, of course, to do with cost and the different technology. Like I said earlier, it's a car's technology. It's on a much larger scale compared to a bracelet. And so those were some of the problems we faced. But to help a child be encouraged to wear a product like this was something also, like a different kind of problem also to be tackled. How does my mom convince my sister to wear a bracelet that's just a black bracelet, use it for help? Well, that's where this design comes in. You can use it in different designs that not only serves as a disguise for the stranger, but also the bracelet itself encourages kids to wear it. If you'll see, the bracelet is called a wali, and for anybody who speaks Arabic or Urdu, Farsi knows that a wali is the word for a guardian. So that is what it's called. A wali is it's like your bracelet guardian, and the guardian angel wings are our logo. And so that's our concept.
just remember when you're going through this that we really accentuated on the A. So when you talk about the designing, different colors, when you talk, and that in a way for the audience as well as for us as educators is also a reminder how important arts is, how important creativity and innovation is. And it's not just about the science subjects, not just about engineering. They go hand in hand. And that's the reason why STEM became STEAM. So when you look at the art studio in your schools, use them. Use them when you're planning your units. Use them in class and out, because the more color you add, the more creativity you add, the more rejuvenating experience it's going to be. Now we're going to move on to the second demonstration, which was a beauty product. More ladies in the house.
So moving on to more of the makeup world. My partner and I, who is also not here, we decided to ask our peers, what is the most annoying thing about makeup? And they said the removing aspect of it and the fact that you have to carry so many different kind of utensils. So what we decided to do is we came up with a tri-liner, which is basically a 3-in-1 lip liner. It works, has the same function as the the multi-ink pens, but instead of the ink, you have 3 different shades of lip liners in them. And we strived to make the lip liner cruelty-free and vegan, so it would be more socially aware as well as a beauty product. And the tri-liner is long-wearing, it's pigmented, it's matte, and it glides on easily. It doesn't budge on your skin. And you can either use it on the outer edge of your lips or you can use it to fill in. Next slide. And here is an idea of some of the different colored shades we'd have. And this almost works as a blueprint in a way that it shows you what the tri-liner would look like. And like I said, it's efficient. It would be travel friendly. So instead of carrying 3 different lip liners, you'd only carry one that has the same function.
Okay, so fusion of engineering and enterprise, like I've already said, these are some of the most popular stations that we had, in which Nabiha over here, she wants to be an engineer, but not just any engineer. She wants to make a difference. So she created a bicycle because her father's an engineer, and this bicycle is used through solar energy. And so it gives you the effect of a motorcycle when you talk about the speed. But at the same time, it's a cycle. And she devised it for the objective of, the housing communities where you're living. Your kids are playing over there, and it's not that safe to drive cars. So it's for those kind of smaller communities within the context of UAE that you'd rather use the cycle, which will give you the same speed pretty much, but it's something which is safe, and if you want to cross a distance which is smaller, it will cover that. And then they also created a box-like panel so that if you want to put your things in, your groceries in, so that will help. They created a prototype model of looking at a projection of your own brain. It's like, I know this is really 3rd generation science, but they're really technology freaks. So they thought of creating a projector screen that will be linked to, like you're going to wear that on your neck, and then you can sort of interact with that screen. You can play games, you can do your homework, so on and so forth. And then they created a bracelet, which is called Somno, which is going to trigger if you're not taking care of your sleeping patterns. So when your heart rate gets, you're tired, you're exhausted, your heart rates get slower, blood pressure isn't working because you're under rest. Because of the fact that we have really busy lives, Somno is going to trigger an effect, and you'd know that it's time to take a short nap to sort of rejuvenate yourself. So it's a reminder to take care of yourself. So these were some of the products which were very popular among the Ministry of Education judges and the stakeholders that we had over here. Moving on to the next one, which would be technology. Can you just finish it?
Okay, just on the previous slide, there were many examples of products which fell in that category, but obviously due to time constraints, we can't go through details of all. Our next category was fusion of technology and arts, and we are emphasizing on arts a lot more And that was the reason, again, that it became part of the whole STEM concept. But at the same time, I would like to go back to all the questions you have as educators. Getting A as a part of STEM really, really helps teachers to become more confident in order to prepare and plan and organize STEM-related projects. Without the A, it was very technical. You have your science, you have your technology, you have your engineering, and you have your maths. Really, I'm a technology teacher, but I know these form the most dry combinations on planet Earth. But with the word art, it means that these fields come in use when you have the creativity, imagination, and the desire to create something new. It's also kind of getting back into the happiness focus of KHTA, what makes you happy. So when you bring arts in, that's basically letting your students say, I want you to be able to give me a speech about a product, or I want you to show me a product which uses these particular coding skills. This is the curriculum we are following. And obviously you will teach the model, you will teach the methodology. But then what they create at the end is up to them, going back to how they define their own objectives. And because what they create is up to them, that brings in the arts factor, the creativity factor, which brings in why they will be engaged and why they'll have a desire to do something. There were many products which were directly mapping into arts and were created because of the technology skills. I'm going to get one of my students to talk about the product she created and her experience on that.
So, as you know, we're living in the 21st century and we use technology on a daily basis, and it's advancing and developing in a high pace. So the students of the ICT class who are part of the STEAM exhibition decided to combine technology and arts to create something new. As I mentioned before, that we made applications. And there were a variety of applications that were created by many of the students there. And as I said, a lot of effort, hard work were put in to create these apps, and it took a lot of time. We started small, but then it ended up being a really big thing which helped us in this whole process. So some of the examples of the apps that were created was Poetry Corner, which was created by me. So before I created this, I thought, okay, I had to look at the applications on App Store, Google Store, and I was like that there are lots of people around the world who enjoy writing poetry, right? There are lots of people out there, but there isn't a type of app that brings people together, those who love poetry, bringing them together and being like one community. So I thought, why not making an app where not only can you write poetry on it, but you can share poetry and gain feedback and learn from your mistakes and get inspired by other people's poetry. So with that, I created my app called Poetry Corner, and I really enjoy writing poetry myself. So it was also beneficial for me, because then I started writing poetry and I'm like, maybe I could start sharing mine too. Some of the other apps were AAM Art. So basically, the student who made this decided to share arts created by AAM students, and lots of talented students from our school had amazing artworks that weren't really seen by everyone. So in order for lots of other people from all over the world, worldwide, to have a look, a student decided to create this app so that other people can have a look at their talent too. Another app which was created was Arcturus. Basically, it's an art-related app too. However, the difference is, what makes it unique is that it gives you a different aspect of art. It lets you have a look at different kinds of art. It gives you inspiration, ideas, and you can also join in with the co-owner to share in your art and gain feedback from it. And lastly, one of the apps were created was the music cooperation. It's also connected to the art and technology, even though it's not art, because we wanted students to create new ideas, not just focus on art itself, but use art and create better and similar ideas. So the music cooperation was an app where you could purchase music albums when they're released, and there was a variety of music. They're all from like American music all the way till Korean music. So there was like a whole lot of music albums that you could actually purchase, and I think that the students did a really good job in actually creating their own applications, and they use like technology and arts together to make something new, something that they've never created before, something that they could inspire other people. And I believe that these tools can be used in everyday life, and the participants did a brilliant job in the exhibition in creating something unique that would benefit all of society.
Good morning, I'm Hamda, and I am actually in both classes. So I was in the speech portion, and I was also doing the ICT portion. So I'm going to talk about the fusion of creative computing and art. So basically, it's more like coding, programming, and for us specifically, we used Scratch, which is a program created by MIT. Hoping you.
Any ICT educators here? Anybody from the technology? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. So with that, we made some animations, stories, and for example, two of our projects. One was, if you can see over there, was a hangman game made by me and my partner. So basically, our aim was to teach kids about e-safety, to how to be safe on the internet. But we thought, how are we going to catch their attention by a story? Because children's attention spans are very short nowadays, and we really wanted to go the extra mile and try something hard, because we really wanted to challenge ourselves. And even though like creative computing itself is actually really hard, you can see in the next slide, I'll show you, there's different blocks you have to put together. It's just trial and error. Mostly it's just trial and error, because you're going to put all of this massive, impressive code together, but in the end, it does not work out. And then you have to keep doing it over and over again. But in the end, I actually believe that creative computing is really an essential to everyone, because even if you don't use it in your software or you don't like to do IT, it still teaches you problem solving and how to really think outside of the box. So if you can see here, for example, the hangman game, we had to create step by step, like the stage drawing ourselves, to just create the animation of like a 3D and like live-like drawing. And then we had to use several backgrounds, for example, a background for the story, a background for the instructions, background for the hints. And here are some of like the codes. You can either there's a lot of pages for the code. So you have characters, and each character has a code. They can have a tiny code, like a short code like this. They can have a lengthy code. So it really depends. But overall, they've come together to make games, animations, and also we've used the Scratch website has an explore option. So that's where we use the inspiration, tips, and there's a very wide and helpful community to help us learn different ways of putting together our codes. Thank you.
On that, I would just like to add, it was the first time that the girls were introduced to computing, coding, or programming of any sort. And then they went way ahead the curriculum requirement or expectation, because they were doing something they chose and decided to do. There was an arts element, but again, just reminding you of the point, they chose e-safety and a game to train and teach young kids. So again, using technology and arts and their idea to benefit wider community. And they involved the younger ones, they went into their classes, and they let them play, and it was amazing. I mean, I could stand in front of the little kids and tell them about cyberbullying and stalking and probably get nothing out of the whole process. But because of that game, which they were able to because of their ICT skill, they were able to do it in a much more kids-friendly way, which actually worked. And on that ICT, this is where I'm trying, and we are trying for our girls to know that coding is not something they need to learn if they want to become a programmer. They need to learn it so that they know how to think, how to break their problems into small segments, how to solve each segment, merge them together, and create the bigger solution. And again, just highlighting the STEAM factor, just using coding, you can implement your entire STEAM framework even if you're not an ICT teacher, even if you're a class teacher or another subject teacher. And mentioning of Scratch, you can go into that, and there are hundreds and thousands of ideas and support directly by MIT. Just a small tip for those who want to implement it.
And just remember, as an educator, since I've been part of training teachers for more than 8 years now, it's not important that you only think about how am I supposed to do it. That's the kind of question I've been getting in the previous years. It's also important to know why you want to do it. What is the benefit of doing it? You're not just modifying units and creating units because you're a teacher. You need to see the wider outcome. You need to see what effect it's going to have on the students. How is it going to make them responsible citizens who are going to contribute to society? And as you're going through the demonstrations, you can see they all want to make a change. They all want to be change agents in different sectors, in different scenarios. They want to make a difference. And that is what real learning looks like. So if we achieve even half of that, I think we'll have a much safer and much more successful society. Moving on.
Okay, we're also conscious of the time, so we'll try and cover as much as we can. Now, fusion of technology and entrepreneurship. Again, a very vital skill, going back to Vision 2020, and for any student to be successful, it's like their plan B, or a plan in parallel, even if they have a career. So students were encouraged to use technology as a tool, as a skill set, to realize, to accomplish anything they wished and hoped for, and felt that there was a need in the market. So there were many apps which fell under that category, and we're going to talk about one of them, which was quite popular. It was about sports, and my student will talk about it in detail. But straight after the exhibition, we had PE department coming forward and saying, can we have that? We'll have bake sales, just get us that app. So it was like the instant audience and the selling potential of that product, which really re-energized these students to know the impact of their learning and then the value out of the whole process.
And I do want to mention the first slide. If you can look, those are little girls. They're middle school girls, and they're in our robotics club. So they were creating original prototype robots, which will serve society if you talk about, let's say, in the next 20 years or so. And as we know, when innovation and creative skills, your way of thinking is much wider. Except size, sometimes it's just no longer there, sadly. So you can see that when we talk about something as technical as robotics, the middle schoolers took the lead and they created small robots. So imagine the creativity, the power of creativity that these kids have. So we're going to move on now quickly to,
Okay, so I just want to quickly tell you about one of my classmates. So her project was a school sports actually app. So basically the function of the app was to have all of the sports available at the schools and put the dates of the next match, what they scored, what happened, when's the next practice, do you guys want to come and cheer for us? So it's basically to bring the school community together and to let out the word that there's tryouts, for example, tomorrow, or there's a match tomorrow. The thing is, it's just to bring the community together at school, because there might have been a person that wanted to go that might have not known. So this is like the function of the app, to help and bring people together so we can have that school spirit in one way.
Good morning. My name is Sogol. I was part of ICT and creative writing class, so I have an overview of both sides. I'm going to cut this short. So my part in creative writing class was to make a product that was not out in the store. And I wear glasses myself, and I'm always troubled with when I go to cinema or when I want to wear sunglasses. So I came up with luxury super glasses. These glasses have 4 functions. It's a sunglass, reading glass, 3D glass, and it has a function that there are microlights inside the glass. You can turn it on and read at night. So I thought that could be helpful for most of the people, since 78% of the world have poor eye vision, and 95% and more wear sunglasses, and there are 58% of the people who go to movies and watch 3D movies. a part of that, for ICT class, I decided to come up with Heaven for Travelers. It's specifically made for school. And well, I saw that most of the girls have really creative ideas about trips that they want to make and they want to go. But there wasn't really a place that they could give out their ideas. So what I came up with was this app. They could have live chat rooms, they could post pictures, and they could talk to the staff and the students all in one and try to convince the staff to get what they want. So overall, STEAM was a great experience. It wasn't only a class thing, it was a real life experience. Thank you.
And just to conclude, I think we don't need to read off the slide. You have seen in terms of products and student experiences how through this framework they were able to get all the skills and more, and confidence, which is the most important skill. Thank you.
Thank you.